Eddie. We've got the headphones.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the Australian post-match press conference. We have the captain, Will Skelton, and coach, Eddie Jones. First question, please. Here at the back.
Eddie, did you get everything that you wanted out of that game? And in particular, what are the areas that you were most impressed with? And on the flip side of that, what are the areas that you'll be looking at to improve for next week against Fiji?
Well, round one, you want to be sitting with 5 points. So I think we got 5 points. Then parts of the play, it's the first time I've been involved in a game against Georgia or a training session against Georgia where their scrum hasn't dominated or looked like dominating. So it's a real credit to Neil Hatley and the front row and Taniela in his 50th cap and Belly and Parecki and obviously the rest of the pack for their scrum efficiency and the way they scrummed. And then I thought, secondly, our attacking kicking was really good. We put Mark in a number of situations where, he really caused the opposition a lot of trouble. So they're two really key and promising areas for us.
Mel?
Eddie, can you elaborate a little bit more on Ben Donaldson's contribution? Obviously, he was probably a surprise selection from outside the squad. So, what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, well, I think as I mentioned on the selection media brief, he trained the whole rugby championship at 15 because we had Quaid and Carter were training at 10. So we knew what he was capable of. We felt in a game like that where there's going to be a lot of kicking because Georgia, play very similar to France. They're a high kicking team. So his long kick was invaluable. He's a very good decision maker, and then obviously his goal kicking was, well, not obviously, but his goal kicking was first class.
Tom?
Eddie, I think 7 penalties you conceded today. There was a stat saying that's the first time in 30 tests Australia's been so low. How important was that in that victory?
Well, I think it's a testament to Will. His leadership on the field. I think, penalties are generally because people go out of kilter. No player ever tries to give away a penalty. So a player feels like he's got a forced to go outside the team pattern or team philosophy and gives away a penalty. And I think it's a real credit to Will and the way he's leading the team, the way he's got the boys together off the field, and there's a real feeling that this team could do something, and they're all working for each other. So that might be one reason. Maybe Luke Pearce liked us. Where's that Pommy bloke from? Where was he from? Daily Telegraph, one of my favourite newspapers. Where's he? He's not here today. I bet if we lost, he'd be here. Might have to send him an invitation. Know his name? Charles. Charles, are you out there, mate? No? Okay.
Next question.
Eddie, just on penalties on the other side, you were happy to accumulate points through penalties in the first half. That's something that we haven't seen a lot in Australian rugby in recent years. Is that a reflection of tournament rugby, or did the heat have something to do with that as well?
Well, I think every time you get down, you want to get points, mate. That's what Test match rugby's about. Get down there, get points, and if you can kick your goals, kick your goals. And just, at half-time, whilst the game wasn't won, we put ourselves in a position to win the game. And that was through putting pressure on the opposition and converting that to points. So, again, the leadership of Will there was first class, and obviously Dono did his job.
Chrissy?
Eddie, Tate McDermott looks like he'll miss that match. Can you confirm that? But secondly...
Oh, I can't confirm anything now, mate.
Okay. Was it concussion?
I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
He definitely missed the rest of the game through HIA.
Right. Nick White came on. The tempo seemed to change a little bit, maybe a bit slower. Does that go against what you're trying to do with the attacking philosophy about speeding it up or not?
Look, I wouldn't say that. Maybe you've got that judgment, but I wouldn't necessarily agree with you.
Eddie, were you 100% happy with the second half? Did you feel, and maybe it's tapping into the change in halfback, do you feel that there were issues there with how the second half unfolded? You needed a couple of try savers there late on.
The one thing I know in a World Cup is that you want to get better week by week. And, you know, as I said, we had the game, not won, but in a position to win it at half-time. We didn't really allow them a chance to get in the game. So whilst the second half wasn't our absolute best, which probably parts of our first half, there was some really good stuff. That's part of our progression in the tournament.
One here. Mel?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Will, can you talk to us about the feeling amongst the squad? Immediate feeling, I guess, was it relief, pride, or sort of how do you all feel after that?
Yeah, definitely proud of the boys' efforts. Like Eddie said, it wasn't the perfect performance, but we're looking to improve and set a marker. And I thought that was done today with that win.
Sam?
Will, as a big man, how exhausting is playing in a game like that with that much kicking in those conditions, and also how was Taniela after that interception that resulted in that first Ben Donaldson try?
Was it hot? I don't know. No, I think it's mate, we prepared well. The last 6 weeks we were in Darwin. We were acclimatised to the hot weather, so we were ready for that. In terms of Taniela, I thought he had a great test. I thought his set piece, he was really strong in the scrum, and he gave a performance that I thought he'd be proud of.
Will, when Tate was on the ground, you gathered everyone in and you gave them a bit of a rev up. It was pretty fruity, actually. The cameras caught it. Is that your normal kind of way of raising a team? And what was it like generally, you know, coming out there and being captain tonight and you know, kicking that off?
It was obviously pretty special, not only for myself, but to lead these men. I think when Tatey was down, for us, there's one of those critical moments where I want to bring the team together and calm them. I think for me, that was my approach. Calm them down, get them back to doing our job. Obviously, Tatey's a big loss, but we had to move on quickly onto the next job, and I thought we did that pretty well when Whitey came in.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Yeah, a question to the coach, Eddie. You have played against Georgia as a Japan head coach, and you mentioned that Georgian's scrum was not as dominant today, but our backs broke defensive line several times. How do you think Georgian rugby is evolving through the years since you last played them? Yeah,
well, the strength of the team's changed, and the balance of the team's changed. Whilst you still got a very good scrum. The game, your game's evolved because you've got some great young backs. You know, both the nines are good players, and the fullback's something special. You know, he's got that curving, arching run, and he doesn't lose speed when he changes direction. So he's very hard to defend against. So it's an evolution of Georgian rugby. I think you always want to keep your strength there, which is your scrum, and then adding to it. And I think, apologies again, I can't pronounce the coach's name. But I think he's doing a really good job. You know, I think he's doing a fantastic job for Georgian rugby, and I'm sure you're going to have a good rest of the tournament. You know, we want you to win every other game. You know, we've got Georgian flags up at St. Etienne now, barracking for you guys. So make sure you win a few games for us.
Well.
Eddie, can you actually give us a bit of an update on Tate? Like, is he talking and he's feeling okay? And also, did Samu come off with any kind of injury, or was that just tactical? And is everyone else in the squad okay?
Yeah, well, Tate's up walking around. And then he'll do all the medical protocols. Samu, we always planned to play 40, so whatever the game situation was, we wanted to give him a hit out. You know, he hasn't played since Dunedin. We need to give him some time, but he's come back from a number of injuries. So the plan was to get him ready for Fiji next week, which obviously, you know, for him and for us is an important game. But for him, you know, playing against your mother country is pretty special. So, yeah, we want to give him the best opportunity to be ready.
Question at the back.
Eddie, was there any frustration in that game for you? Do you look at the bigger picture of how well the young players came through? I would say frustration, perhaps conceding a try when George had a player in a sin bin?
Oh, not really, mate. No, because again, you know, World Cup's about taking each step, and you look at it. If we would have planned the perfect World Cup preparation, we said at the end of round one we want to sit there with 5 points. Well, that's what we've got. You know, and you look at our pack at the end of the game, we probably had, I don't know, 35 caps. You know, we've got a young team. It's another great learning experience for them. They played against 80,000 against France 2 weeks ago. Today they play in front of 75,000. Yeah, so it's a great experience for those young players, and each game they'll get a little bit better, and we'll see the improvements as the tournament goes on.
Tom?
Eddie, you came into this tournament not winning a game. What does just purely a win do for the confidence of the group heading forward to Fiji? And, you know, what's the mentality this week? Do you pat blokes on the back or give them rev ups and focus on the negatives? Well, not negatives, but things you need to work on.
I don't understand the question, mate.
What does a win like that do for confidence with the side? Let's just start with that.
We've always been confident about where we're going. You know, I've got no doubt, and I just see how hard the players work and the way they come out in the start of games. You know, you don't come out in the start of games and play like that if you're lacking confidence. So I still don't understand your question, mate.
Eddie, at the start of the season, you picked Ben Donaldson for your first camp. And there was a bit of backlash about that. At the end of the super season, he's kind of been let go by the Waratahs and needed to find somewhere else. What do you think you see in him, and what kind of attributes do you like in him that perhaps others aren't seeing?
That he comes from Randwick, mate. So he's got a head start. No, I'm trying to pick other Randwick players, but I can't find them at the moment. Look, I think he's a really, really good rugby player. I think he makes good decisions. I think he's got a reasonably high level of decision making. And he's got a pretty sound, you know, game at 10 or 15 in terms of his kicking. So, you know, I'm not sure what the Waratahs didn't see in him, but, you know, that's their business, not mine.
Okay, Christy?
Eddie, when the World Cup draw was announced, I think best part of 3 years ago, you were England coach, but you said that Fiji would be one of the dark horses if they got their pathways right and perhaps emerged in Super Rugby. They have. What are some of those threats that they have, and how do they differ to Georgia?
Yeah, we'll worry about Fiji next week. I think at the moment all we want to do is enjoy the win. You know, the players have worked really hard. I'm going to go out tomorrow to Bordeaux and have a look at them, maybe have a nice red wine as well. Might deserve one tomorrow, Will, hey? Yeah. Will might have a nice beer, and then we'll get on to Fiji on Tuesday, mate.
Okay, we might take a final question up here. No? Okay, at the back.
Eddie, what do you think of the whistle publics against you?
Sorry?
The whistle.
The whistle?
Yeah, of the public.
The referee?
No, of the public.
The whistle public.
Against you.
Oh, right. Obviously, I'm not popular, mate. So at least it's consistent. Like, you either want to be popular or unpopular. And I'm consistently unpopular, so that's all right. I can deal with that.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.